and welcome back to day 3 of the underwater world even build. And today we are going to make a start on getting all the pieces basically covered of the train itself. So just bear with me. So we are starting on, let's see if I can get this right now. We're going to start on this piece. So basically some of these are double-sided and some aren't. The best way that I find personally to do this is to cut into a corner like so. That's just folding over. So just one corner, and the best way I find is let it dry and then use a blade from the other side. So just literally cutting into the corner so I can line it up really. And then on this one, because it's got a curved edge, I'm not going to be doing the curve, but I am going to be doing something like that, probably fine. And then I'm just going to put this on top of this, like this, and get the paper put down. And then when it's dry, I will turn it over and cut out the picture. Now, a lot of these do have two sides to them. Where you're going to have paper on both sides, and some go around the edges. So I'm doing basically the ones which aren't going to have that. I'm using Beacon 2-in-1. It is very stringy, but I find with being under paper, it is one of the better ones that you can polish out any bubbles, or push out any bubbles really. So like I say, going to line it up best I can, especially down the bottom here that's cut out here already. And line it up like this, push out the bubbles with one of these. Just got that from Amazon, making sure it's lined up, because once you start pressing it down it's much harder to move around. So, and then I am, other than leaving it dirty mark, then I am going to leave that to dry. I'm going to go ahead and get a lot of these pieces done, and then I will show you what I've done. Rolling up my sleeves, getting ready for this now. Alright, so just before I stick the rest of them down, I have them all cut out. As you can see, there are quite a lot. It isn't how it shows to do it in the book. It shows to do certain ones, put the windows in, and then you're going to flip some over, do the other side. This one has exactly the same picture, one on one side, one on the other side. So I'm just going to do one, excuse me, and paste that on, let it dry, cut out the one side, then I will paste the second side and cut out the second side. So anyway, let me get on with that. I'll show you one more. I might as well show you on this one actually. Well, I've got one ready to go. Let's use that one. So this one, again using the beacon here, and let me bring this more to the center here, and then I'm going to get on and just do the rest of them, and then I will come back and show you. Oh, my beacon's been very runny here. We're going to have way too much glue on that. This is stringy stuff, so do go careful of it, but be aware that it is stringy. So it's a lot of glue down the bottom here, and I know I'm going to have lots of wastage. Just be careful of whatever you use, and you know, you could use an old credit card for what it matters, but just make sure it's something which isn't going to leave any surface on it. So just making sure that that's nicely lined up on both sides, top and bottom. And as I said, loads of seepage over there. I'm going to get rid of that, because what that will do, that will go straight onto the stick that I'm using. I'm not worried about this side at all. I'm going to be cutting through that anyway, but just make sure it's in position before you start pinning it down as such. Okay, a bit more. Okay, and then get this and just squidgy it all sides. It's very stringy. And then leave it to dry. So don't cut it while it's wet. If you do get some on here, when it's dry, hopefully you'll be able to peel it off. But basically, just going to check this one. Yeah, happy with that. So I'm going to get the rest of these done, and I will come back and start cutting them out with the blade, which just for me personally, I find it so much easier to do that way. Alrighty, I will be back. Alright, so those have had several hours now to stick. I just kind of left them for a while. So all of these ones up top here don't have a backing tool, although that does have some other work to be done. These four do have backings on, and this one is a double-sided one, and you put in a tiny piece of plastic in here after you put the second cover on, which is this one here. What I'm thinking, and I'm going to try and do, is line it up on this side after I've cut this side out. Line it up on this side, cut this hole because it's more difficult for me to do, and then instead of doing what they say, which is put it on top of here, I'm just going to lift it up, pop it inside here, and then paste this one down afterwards, or glue this one down. These all have second covers on it. This one has a window on, so I will probably do, does this one have a backing? Yes, it does. This one has this backing here. This one you're meant to put the window in first, so I'm probably going to do very similar to what I've done here. This one's going to have a tinted window along with these two. So, and also this one has a cover around this blue part. I'll show you. Just has a very thin strip. It only goes around the blue part because obviously it's not big enough to go anywhere else. So let me start getting these cut out. You go to one side so we don't make mistakes. So this is the way I found easiest on most of my builds. Make sure your scalpel's reasonably sharp, or your crafting knife. This one's actually due a new blade, so if it does get stuck, that's why. And I just find it so much easier to cut it. This is some glue seepage, so it's going to be a bit harder going through there. So give that a couple of strokes there. And I also find it easier to turn it to cut them out. And you can see, just pulls it out. Try not to pull it, because if you pull it too much, then it can easily tear, and if it tears, then you're not going to be happy. I've definitely made the mistakes of going all over the wood when I've been cutting, because if my hands aren't having a very steady day. So far so good for today. And then I'm going to cut out this little window, which, as you can see why I would rather not have that window in when I do this second side here, because it's just easier to cut out when it's hollow like this. But it's also the reason why I won't stick it all the way. And like I say, just tap it, see where it's getting stuck, do another cut along there or two, and then it goes. So not too bad. A little bit off on the thing here, on the side here, but I'm okay with that. Well, I thought I was recording me doing another one of these just so you have a better idea, so I guess we will do this one. Evidently I was not recording. If you do have any over, or it's not quite lined up as much you'd like, you can always colour in any areas missed with like marker, that type of thing. So like here, actually that's not bad at all, I'm okay with that. There's a little bit at the bottom, probably wouldn't even be seen. This is the side of the cab, and this is going to also have that rose coloured paper in. I can't remember if it was recorded, but this stuff basically is going to be going on there. But this only has one side of paper, because you're just not going to see it. And it's just caught right in the corner there. I couldn't do this with a pair of scissors personally, so I find it easier this way, or a scalpel, come to that to get the corners and stuff. And then just the last one in here. Whoops, totally missed. And again, doing well on this one. This one's really stuck down as well. There's quite a lot of glue seepage on it. And I can see where it's going to have some over. Gosh. Okay, my hands are doing really well. Don't do this if you've got dicey hands, I guess. Likelihood of me cutting myself here is probably quite high. And I can see this needs more trimming here. And I'm sure that will need something on here too. Probably should just go and get another blade. But my hands are a little bit off today, so I'm worried that if I put a brand new blade in, that I'm going to cut myself. It looks quite the mess, doesn't it? Alright, I'll tidy that up, but generally you can see it's not terrible. Like I say, just going to tidy that up. Alright, I'm going to get the rest of these done, and then I will be back and get the other sides of some of them glued. Alright, so I've got all those glued. Now what I'm going to do is focus. So I put the glass in this one here, so that's all done. I'm going to put that to one side, that one to one side, that one to one side, that one, keeping this one for a second, that one to one side, these two to one side, these two to one side as well. So what we're going to focus on for the moment is putting this piece of paper around here, this one, and putting in this transparent that I've cut into here so that I can stick the other side down. And I'm actually going to do that with the glue that I will be using for the paper anyway. So, well, it's got a great big blob on it. Let me get rid of that. As half my tissue sticks to the pot. Okay, so, oh, got another big blob anyway. Wow. I had this upside down. Obviously it doesn't need to be upside down. Not yet. When it gets a bit lower maybe. So I'm going to get rid of some of this because it's going to be way too much glue. So bear with me. And I'm just going to spread it around a bit and throw that tissue away. Yeah. Right, make sure I don't have anything in my hands for this. So then I'm going to pick this tiny piece of plastic up, which is probably quite difficult to see on the camera, and just poke it in here where I want it to be and push that down on top of it. I know it's not the way they say to do it, but it makes more logical sense to me to do it that way. Okay, and then I'm going to put that to one side while we get on with this little piece here. So this I'm just going to use I think wood glue on, even though it's, well, no, I should use the other stuff. The other stuff was just coming out a bit too fast, but maybe it's slowed down now. And all you're going to do is put this blue little border on one side and put it, you're not going to be putting it away for long because we're going to be taking it out to put the window in, but I'm going to cut all those windows out first and put them with the backings that needs to go. So let's take our little piece of paper here, if I can pick it up. And making sure it just goes down to there. And it's nicely sealed on the top there, so you can see it's on there fine. And put that to one side to dry. It's sunny today, so it can go and sit in the sun here on the window. Right, now The other pieces, you can see I've cut one out here. That was the one for that door. I'm going to cut these out. Now, the best way I found is start off with scissors and then use your blade to go around the edge. Don't go in the middle, because that's where you need the glass. So, initially, I'm just using the scissors to go through them all. Just make sure I've got nothing on my hands, because I've just used glue. And I'm not going to be particularly close to them or anything like that, because I'd rather do that with a blade. And with this one here, I'm not sure how that's going to go, so I'm probably going to leave that one to cut it in for the moment. But the ones which are obvious frames, I'm going to cut to the outer edge. And this one wants to come up again. And you're also going to use a big portion of this as well. And also this little bit here, you're going to use that in the end for something as well. So just going roughly around the edge here. It's a bit closer than I anticipated, but it works. So keep hold of the leftovers. And then, so I'm going to get those going. And I'm going to cut these ones out. Now these are only glued in on the outside of the paper, and it's very thin stuff, so as soon as I start cutting, they will no longer have the support of the corners. So just go careful that they don't fly away or your dog tries to eat them. Dog already got one of the wooden pieces. Managed to rescue it before she did any serious damage. So, because I know where it's roughly glued, I'm just making sure. You can see it's already trying to come off. I'm just going to line that back up. And it doesn't matter if you've got a little bit over. Like that one's probably a little bit bigger than this. That's not going to matter so much. It's better to be over than not. And then cut this one up like so. And like so. And then when I go across, I should have both these pieces detach. Just make sure that it doesn't move as best you can. Like I say, if it's a little bigger, it's not going to harm it. Right, there's another one here, and the last one there, and they're all loose. Come here. Alright, I'm going to keep the leftovers. Don't think we're going to need them for anything, but you never know. And let me show you what all I do for this is... Where did I put my blade? Bear with me. Right where it should have been. So all I'm going to do is go around the outside of this. Now I've got it a little bit more manageable. I'm probably going to go and change my blade actually on this. And you want it to be quite, you're going to need it to be quite close to the frame, because otherwise it's not going to go where it needs to go. And if there's been glue overspill on here, you will have to give it a few runs. So that looks pretty good. Okay, and there you have it with the plastic in. Right, I'm going to go and get the rest of these cut out ready. I may or may not change my blade, and I will be back. Alright, so after you've cut everything out, next what they want you to do is on this side here, they want you to put your window in, this one here, and then on top of that put the cellophane sheet thing, which is very static, by the way, and put that over the top of this side, and then later when you put it all together you will turn it over so that this still is on the inside, and you will put this piece on, but you won't tie the edges down. The edges will go on here, by the way. What I'm going to do instead of doing that is I am going to put this edge on because I prefer to cut the windows out. Just going to make sure that it's all lined up. I'm going to use the sun to make sure it's all lined up and I can see through. And I'm going to stick this on first so I can cut out the hole, rather than waiting, which is what they want you to do, for the train to actually be in position, so like a block, rather than it flatten. And I feel that it will be a lot easier if this is flat. I'm just going to do the one part, I'm not going to do the sides, by the way. This is flat to be able to put the papers on to make sure that we don't have air bubbles. So again, I'm just going to check it on the light first before I seal this and make sure it's all lined up nicely. Whoops, I think I just knocked that totally out of alignment, and I did. Like so. And then I'm going to press this down and get that to wait. Just one more check. Yep, that's okay, and that can stay and wait. And then what I'll do is I won't do the corners yet. I will wait on those until it is put together, in case it goes over any of the other pieces. I don't think it does. Then the next thing is very similar. They want you to put the you join these two together. So let's make sure I get them on the right side, with this right side showing, like, not like that, like this. So wood glue them together, then put the windows in, then turn it over, and when it's all together, so you got it standing upright like this, then you will paper it on this side. So my papering skills when something's in a block probably isn't the best, so I am also going to do this the opposite way. So I'm going to get this wood glued first together, and I'm going to hold it together with paper clips, and then when that's dry, then I will come and put that paper on it, line it up, just make sure that this is totally lined up, line it up, and cut out the windows, have it papered already. Then I will put the windows in from this side rather than from the side that we have just done. So I'm just going to make sure that this is all lined up as I totally push it out of alignment, and let the wood glue do its job. So just do as tight as you can to it. Wow, it's being a little bit of a annoyance. Okay, that's all straight at the bottom. Put that on, and then I will leave this to dry for a few hours, and then come back and put that other piece of paper on the back. And then once that's dry, don't need it to be that big, once that's dry, then I will cut the windows out and put the and continue basically on with the directions. I just don't feel, for me personally, it works doing it the opposite way around. The other piece we're going to do that too is this one. This green at the top is going to go on the roof, so I'm not doing anything with that. So this one, we want it facing that way. Gosh, can't get my directions right. And this way, and again, going to super glue it and tie it down with some paper and a couple of clips. Make sure they're clips which haven't got out of shape. I am certain I do have some. There we go. There's another one with some paper, and get that done, and then just leave it to one side. And then I would, like I say, I'm going to come back, put the paper on the other side before I put the curtain windows in, because they put that transparent stuff on here on this side anyway, so it's not like it goes underneath the paper, because that's what I was thinking they were going to do, but no, they don't. If it had gone under the paper, obviously it would have been kind of a bit different, but that is not the way it is. Just make sure that that's pushed in well. and do this and put this all to one side, and leave it to dry for a few hours. And then, like I say, I will come back and I will put these 2 pieces of paper on them, cut out these windows, hold them up to a light to make sure you've got everything in the right place, and then we can get on with making this, putting those windows in. So I will be back to do that. Alright, so these are dry together. So I am just going to put the glue on to get this paper put on. Just make sure, if you happen to do it this way and not the way it says in the book, make sure you get in where the windows are going to go, nice and tight down there. That if you do it this way, that you are going to have an edge, and this edge is going to go for this one that I'm looking at. You can see there's a cutout here. That edge goes like this. Like I say, hold it up to a window to make sure it's lined up this way. It's just a little bit easier for me to cut, and then I'm going to put both of these to one side, get it lined up best I can. So I did cut on this one the edges to make it a little easier. I didn't probably really need to. And this will go onto the roof as well. So line it up, like I say, check on the use a light behind you to help, and then once you are happy, you can press it down, holding it in place. Double check myself. Alright, that's good, and I'm going to leave that to one side, do this other one, and then we will cut these out like we did before. I'll get that done so that we're ready to put the windows in. Alright, so those are all cut out, pretty okay with that. Now what we're going to do is stick the windows in. So plastic side on the inside, so I'm going to push these in from this way. So let me make some room, and these are the windows that are going in. So you've got green in most of them, but the front one has a white window. And I'm just going to glue the edge of this, get those in, and then we deal with those little clingy pieces of paper, the static things. So you just need to do the outside just to go into the frame. Probably don't need as much as this. I'm using wood glue because it's wood to wood. And push that in. Try not to get glue all over the glass. Famous last words. And I can see a glue smudge right on there. So let me get that fixed. I think it's on the other side too. Okay, get rid of that, that's okay. Then I'm going to put this one in here. Maybe it'd be easier actually to glue here, because maybe I wouldn't get it all over the frames then. Don't need anywhere near the amount I'm putting in. And again, just push it through. And then I'll get the others done, and we will come back to see the next step. We're actually going to be putting some stuff together soon before we start doing any of the rest, so bear with me. I will get the rest done. Right, and once we have that done, we will turn this over and put these tiny pieces of clingy stuff over there. I'm going to use B7000 for this. Excuse me, losing my voice. So I'm just going to put a dab of glue every now and then. Weird stuff. And then do exactly the same on the other 3 windows. So that front piece will have that as well. Just make sure you cover over both parts, so it kind of has a tint to it. I guess it's to cover the sun rays from the driver because of being underwater. Maybe it gives it a different impression, as you can see. Kind of has a slight pink tint. Alright, I'm okay with that. Learn not to mess with these things too much after the event. Right, I'm going to get that done on this one and the other one, and we'll be back to you and we will be putting things together. Alright, B7000, by the way, is stringy. Alright, and the pieces we are now going to work on, all those windows are sorted out, this weird stuff put on, and there was a breakage on this window. In the scheme of things, it's not going to show. Alright, so turn this upside down. This one with the paper ends, so if you did do what I did and put the paper on first, you're going to want to stick that actually at the base like this, so you can see there's going to be a gap there. So the first one I'm going to put on is this one here, and that one, just trying to see, sits also like this from what I can gather. That makes sense actually. Alright, so let me get both of those glued. Couldn't find where I put my wood glue, which was right next to me. Just make sure that this end is opposite this one that you're putting in. So I'm going to put some wood glue on. It does take a moment to set. I do have some right angle things that I should probably use. And then we will leave this to set. So these are just the elements that we're going to work on today. That there isn't a ton, but yes, I'm questioning myself as to whether I've done this right now. So this one lines up exactly like this, and then this one we are going to glue down this side for starters and get this paper wrapped, which means we could have done it first, because when we put this in, hey, not meant to fall down, the other piece will go on like so. So this one's going to go like this, and this one's going to go over. So I'm also going to put a bit of glue on here. I'm pretty sure I saw a dog hair there. And it will go like this. I suppose you can see much of that at all, really. Sweet. Let me go and get my clamps. Alright, first things first, we're just going to put this one, the long one on. Will these clamps work? Just. So, just make sure it's the right way. Double checking myself because it's kind of upside down now. I am double checking myself. Probably a good thing to do for me. Right, the flooring goes like this, and it will go down this side of the flooring. Yes. Let's look at my phone then. I haven't heard that ding before. And then you are going to have it that let's see, if this is like this and turn it up, doink, doink, getting the wrong way around, that's what I'm doing. Well, it'll be like this. Because it's wood glue, it does take a while to dry, so goodness. And then I'm just going to make sure that that's squared off, and there's only just enough to grip using these. And that will make sure that we have a right angle. And then we will worry about the other one when this one's dry. I'm just going to move this paper out of the way. But now we know that that other piece of the paper we can stick down both sides, this one here. So I'm going to get and do that as well at the same time. So I'm just putting these clamps on. I'll show you in a sec. Sorry, it's off screen right now. Right, bear with me. Almost done. Just can't quite get it to fit right. Oh, there we go. So just go careful if you do use clamps. I mean, I'm sure your naked eye is probably better than mine, that you don't tear the paper that we have put on. Alright, so that's all I've done, is I've got them clamped in here. You can see that it's on the right side there. Whoops, as I move it. And I moved it again. It's because it has very little grip right here. Right, I will get that fixed, and I'm going to also stick down the sides, these papers down the side here. Right, I thought I was recording and I wasn't, so all I did was take off these clips. They'd been holding the ends down, and popped it on the end here like so. I'm going to clamp that with these a bit more to make sure it stays in place where I want it. See, this kind of is just about out of alignment here. And get those done. But one of the things I did say was an error that I made was, which I thought was a bit weird, but nevertheless I made an error. What can I say? This is me. I made those too big. Let me tell you about the error and then I'll get these clamps on. So when I put this piece on the back of it, I put this sticker. I should not have. So I did think it was a bit weird that you'd never see it, because that's going to go on like this. So there was another piece of wood, and what I should have done was put the inside sticker on here. So I am manually going to be trying to replicate that as best I can. So what will happen next is this will go inside here on the other side of the join, and this will go upright, and then this piece, once I've made it, will just stick on the top here. So I will get that sorted, and tomorrow we can go ahead and start putting in some of this stuff, including some chairs and tables and that type of thing. So please do remember to like and subscribe. If you've got any comments, please leave them underneath the video, or you can send me an email at opallyhour@outlook.com, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. And above all, do take care of yourself, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.